song was from?
Here we are.
No.
Carousel. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Fun Show here at Big TV. Michael is pushing St. Patrick's Day.
Is that what he's playing? How come I can't?
Harrigan.
I thought it was a Harrigan song, only because that's what popped in my head a moment ago.
Yes, it's subliminal.
Okay.
We've been connected with Harrigan. That's me. A nice, soft, sappy Irish song.
How about a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down?
No, that's not an Irish song.
I know, but I want to challenge you. I'm challenging you. But maybe at the end. You don't have to do it now.
What movie is it from?
Mary Poppins.
Very good. Full credit.
Oh, excellent. What do I get?
Full credit.
What do I get?
My story about how I called Disney on who to cast in Mary Poppins.
I actually remember this. Did you see that movie they made regarding, the story behind Mary Poppins?
No.
I'm going to have to check that out. But I think it was supposed to be really, I don't know, interesting.
Mary Poppins in the book is a very scary character.
She's scary in the movie.
The man who can't decide what he's playing over here behind the Cura keyboard is your host, Michael Sallin, who has Valentine's cake icing has forever stained his fingers.
And yours
That's
too?
some serious red dye number, 2 or
I think
whatever it is.
red dye number 183.
Okay, it was a little intense. And this is Mike.
That's Michael Sallin. I'm Arch O'Reilly, and sitting between us is the always fabulous Kira Miner.
Shush.
There she is.
I'm a little sleepy, but she's wide awake.
She's wide
Now I
awake.
appreciate that you absorbed my sleepiness.
Actually, Mike, considering that you were the man in black today, you should play. Oh boy, what was his name? The man in black, the country singer,
How far back?
Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Okay.
Yeah. Johnny Cash.
So you have a Johnny Cash song in your repertoire?
You don't know any?
What's the famous one? There's one.
I Walk the Line.
Yeah.
Remember that?
That's the most famous one.
I can't remember how it goes till you started.
Because you're mine, I walk the line. I keep my pants up with a ball of twine. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds.
We've become a variety show, everybody. Yes.
Not much variety. It's all bad singing.
I think it's beautiful singing.
Speaking of singing and show and stuff, I went to see my granddaughter out at Newton South High School over the weekend. And in a show that I don't believe you could get me into the theater to see, except for that my granddaughter was in it because of its name.
Urinetown.
Called Urinetown.
I saw it here in Boston. I loved it.
What was it about?
It has to be the very worst name for a show in the history of theater.
But I thought it was a great script.
It's about a sort of a corporate dictatorial person who's taken over whatever it is. You never figure out if it's a city, a town, a country, or whatever. And the basic conceit is that the population has to pay to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if they don't have the money, they're not allowed to go to the bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
And if they're caught relieving themselves without paying, they're shipped off to Urinetown.
Oh.
Well, it turns out.
What a
Spoiler
terrible
alert.
premise.
You're using up too much time to tell us.
Spoil it.
It turns out Urinetown is being thrown off the tallest building in town.
We got that. Sounds like a story about California. Yeah.
California, here
What
I
a
come.
terrible name for a movie.
Urinetown is on the gun.
Theater.
All right.
How'd your granddaughter do?
A law school stands trial. Did you guys?
What?
A law school stands
Is that
trial.
the one out in San Diego?
Yeah. This is.
What is the name of the law school now that you've got the clipping in front of you?
I have it in front of me.
This is a young woman who graduated from law school, passed the bar, had $150,000.
Out in California.
Thomas Jefferson Law School.
The Thomas Jefferson Law School.
Yeah.
$150,000 in debt from law school. And
she's yet to find a full-time salary job as a lawyer.
She's not making money. So she's
8 years
suing
ago,
them
man.
for misrepresenting it. I guess inspired by the successful suits against the likes of Trump University.
Wait a minute. But, nine other cases just like this have been turned down by judges all over the country. She got one judge to say yes.
This must be the one
Interesting.
judge in the country who didn't go to law school but studied the law himself and passed the bar.
Her name is
You know, you used to be able to do that.
Oh, I know.
Anna
I think there's still some
Alberta
states you
is her
actually
name.
can.
All right, she's got a lot. She's spunky. She's 37.
Well,
now.
I say more power to her.
I do too.
More power to her.
And she's got a shot
That's
at,
how the game is played.
at getting it done. I hope so. It's a
It
good
would
story.
Right.
be-
Okay.
it
Don't
would
worry
be
about
good.
that.
It would be good.
All right, well, hold on a second. It's my turn.
Yes.
I realize the only way I get to actually participate on this show is if I just interrupt you guys.
Good.
And pretend like I have something to talk about, even if I really don't. Why women quit science, okay?
Very good.
Mike brought this to my attention. I don't know what the answer is. Why do women quit science?
There's a big story up there at the top. A story, and it has to do with a letter.
You
that
know,
this
it's not Yahoo. I need just 2 or 3 lines to tell me what's going on. All these extra words just are
She was a
clouding the
professor
issue.
who wrote this.
She
A
wants-
science
Okay.
professor.
She wants the Reader's Digest.
Yeah.
Wait a
print the
minute, wait a minute.
newspapers.
She got a letter from a former student.
Okay.
And the former student reads the letter, and this
In
professor,
Honolulu.
this professor that's also at this other school with this kid, he's fallen in love with her. And so he says to her, either you leave or I leave. And that's one of the reasons
So
why
women
women
quit
quit
for
school.
love. That's why
Yeah.
women quit a lot of things.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
then-
that science is
and then-
unique
but
for
then
this. So
there are other things. STEM.
And that
was their
and
lead-in.
that
I'm so,
justified
like, that
this
just
much
makes-
agate type.
yeah, I disagree with their usage
Down
of
below.
the title and all the
She
words.
said she
Here we
has
go.
data. She had
Here we
real
go.
statistics.
We can learn a
Statistics?
lot. You talk about
ahead.
Yahoo.
Yeah.
We can learn a lot by finding here the title of her upcoming memoir, Lab Girl.
Okay.
She probably shouldn't have been a scientist to begin
Well,
with.
she
No.
was. She's good. She says
She's
for
doing
every
her thing
5
the way she's
guys
doing it.
That get a bachelor's in science. It's 3 women. She says. She has
I
data.
didn't think it was that high.
Yeah, well, that's what she. It used to be bigger, but now she says a lot more people.
You mean
women
before,
have
you
gone.
mean before Larry Summers?
They don't know. Some people know. She knows. Okay, maybe.
Oh, come on. People around here should get the reference to women in science and Larry
I
Summers.
saw her on
Go ahead
television.
and tell everybody because
I
you know
saw-
you leave things really open-ended for the world.
All right, I saw her on television.
He got in a lot of trouble
They
by
actually
saying women
showed
weren't
this on
suited for
TV.
science.
Got it.
They showed a man getting out heroin stuff and putting in a bus in front of everybody and
Shooting up in a bus.
up on a bus.
Okay. What's the problem?
I think it's incredible, you know. Then
Well, it's the same thing. Like you can't smoke pot on the bus. You can't smoke
in
cigarettes on the bus. You
Cincinnati,
can't have an
a
open
woman died
container.
after
so.
she and her husband overdosed in their baby's room at the Cincinnati Children's Hospital.
I'm just not surprised. That's the
You know
problem.
what?
That's
You know
the
what?
problem.
It's a good thing they did it before they took the baby home from
yeah,
the hospital.
exactly. Save that baby's
You know?
life.
They have this whole thing, the opioid crisis now, which apparently is a combination of overprescribing of medicinal pain pills and cheap heroin all over the
Fentanyl
place.
also, that chemical thing.
Fentanyl's worse than heroin.
I know. They
And,
die quicker from that. I don't know if they can come out
And
of it.
then I don't know if we're helping or hurting by this stuff that we have, Narcom,
Yeah.
What?
which
The police.
you overdose, particularly on heroin. They give you a shot of this thing called Narcan, and
Okay.
it brings you out of it.
Gotcha. I think we
But
talked about
The
this
police
before.
department is now claiming that they, for example, one recent police department said in the last month they'd given 42 doses to 25 people.
Yeah. They keep,
In other words, they're now doing it repetitively.
Yeah.
They're now less afraid of overdosing because they think they can be brought back.
is this like, I won't get into it. I'm not going to bring up this other. No, I won't bring it up. Okay.
Just
Yeah.
tease us like that.
That's
No,
something bad.
no, we
Oh,
don't
here's
want
one.
it.
Here's
Let it go.
one-
Moving on. Moving
Here's one
on.
at art galleries.
Okay.
Art galleries and museums.
Okay.
Art galleries, in order to get very good, they have clients who are doing an exhibition in their gallery. The owner of the gallery takes samples.
Is the
and
artist the client or is the buyer the client?
Wait. The guy who owns the
confused.
gallery takes samples of this to the Museum of Fine Arts.
Okay.
And says, gee, this is very good. We're going to do an exhibition of your guy's stuff, or the woman's stuff.
Okay.
So then somebody in the Museum of Fine Arts says, wait a minute.
Contemporary art.
Wait a
more
minute.
likely.
We're showing this thing for a month, all these things in it. People are coming in, then they're going out and buying stuff from this gallery, and the gallery's getting a big piece of change out of this, and we're getting zip. So now the museums are asking for $5,000 to $50,000
Okay.
if they're showing
I agree.
these pictures.
I'm okay with this.
I don't think it's
it's unreasonable. I think that they've provided a platform that is a major platform. I'm okay with it.
I suggest that the museums open a gallery section in their museum, and I suggest that galleries work harder at mounting their own exhibitions.
Yeah, but they bring it to the museum, which has these huge audiences that are paying.
The museum either likes the stuff or it doesn't like the stuff. If it likes the stuff, it exhibits it because that's what they exist for. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And this is the slippery road of their exhibiting
Got that?
stuff.
He's almost rolling his neck over here.
Wait a second. This is the slippery slope where they start exhibiting stuff that isn't worth being in a museum because they're being paid.
Okay.
All right.
Check. Got it.
So
Okay.
this is no good.
All right, fine.
how
Why
we
does he
doing?
always win, Mike?
Yeah. Okay. I don't always win.
Not you.
No, he's
Arch.
Is criminality genetic?
No.
I'm sure there's some sort of
Scientists
mean
don't
gene in there.
know because they're afraid to ask.
Meaning, can people be born bad?
I can
That's
understand
the
that.
question.
I
The
can understand
genes,
that.
that
That
Where's
harks back.
the
that harks-
sociopath
social,
gene?
that's social policy. Is
That
involved.
harks back to this other clipping that you made.
Yes.
Which was about the period of time when America was really into eugenics.
Right.
And
And
there,
Hitler
What's
liked it
eugenics?
too.
eugenics is
Was in his mind.
selective sterilization of the population to remove traits that you don't want
Check.
from the population.
People
And in
with
this case,
mental
it was
problems.
feeble-mindedness.
Yeah.
Which was nicely loosely defined, which meant that a court could decide almost anybody was feeble-minded. But this was actually approved way back when by Oliver Wendell Holmes at the Supreme Court, which is very, very surprising. It
1927.
even Donald Trump wouldn't approve of this
No.
today.
No. Well, he'd be scared.
But here's one of the greatest jurists, probably the second greatest jurist in American history, approving of eugenics in 1927.
Sterilization.
So you talk about, the courts and, the difficulty of letting courts run wild about deciding stuff. On a friendlier note, however, we seem to have an agreement here from the Boston Buildings Trades Union Council, or the Metropolitan Building Trades Council, where for moderate and lower priced housing development in the city, they're going to offer a
cut.
60% salary to work on these projects. Of course, the trade-off is your project has to be 100% union. And the unions that are involved appear to be painters, plumbers, and electrical workers.
Yeah. Carpenters have already done this, by the way.
So apparently their social consciousness is kicking in to try to reduce the price of affordable housing.
Yeah, if their prices are down, then the developers can't squawk about paying so much money for the labor.
So that's sort of interesting. Of course, obviously, in order to justify collecting their union dues, their trade-off is that your job has to be 100% union job.
And Bob, before we forget, quickly, we mentioned something about Nancy passing away.
Oh, yes.
Right.
We're going to cram that in right before the play. Okay.
I thought we were going to bring it at the end, but you know
Well, you
what?
can bring it up
No,
later.
you already brought it up. We wanted to acknowledge Nancy's passing.
We want to acknowledge the fact that Nancy Reagan, at the age of 94, I believe,
93, they said. Okay.
approaching the former Nancy Davis, the First Lady of California, the First Lady of the United States, famous actress and homewrecker.
She was a homewrecker? I didn't know that.
Has passed away. Well,
don't pull any punches.
Say good things. Say good things.
Gotcha.
The eulogy is for good stuff.
This ain't a eulogy. This is observing the fact that Nancy Reagan is
All
no
right,
longer with
okay,
us.
all right.
Got it. Bye, Nancy. Good luck.
Okay.
In the
Ladies and
afterlife.
gentlemen, it is now time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation for this evening. Come having been carefully selected from the premium pile of the vault
Way back in
down
there.
in the archives
Okay.
from about 10 years ago, and it refers to a lot of things which are virtually current 10 years later, and after the play you'll realize that that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
It is entitled Softer Hardline.
Why does it say speak easy at the top?
I don't know. That's what they
Speakeasy
call it.
players.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I.
Speakeasy players, yeah.
We
Yeah.
used to have speakeasy.
Well, exactly, so-
Okay, action.
So, the VA is welfare?
A conservative complaint.
From that viewpoint,
Yeah, well, they haven't been to war.
Too busy.
a failing policy.
Korea, Vietnam, Kuwait, Afghanistan,
Too much PTSD.
The dead and wounded.
and the National Guard and Reserves on constant call-up.
Pay and benefits better.
After much arm twisting
Congress is a little more sensitive.
But there's the ballooning national debt.
and yearly deficit, I might add.
Well, you got to fuel that war machine.
Al Qaeda attacked us 9/11.
And over 3,000 people were killed in New York City.
But are we paying enough attention?
Can Americans locate Iraq and Afghanistan?
On a map,
It's not about American Idol.
No one considered new young military families.
ordinary folks cared about our troops.
And talk show hosts demanded more.
We pulled the kids out of jobs.
Sent them to the Mideast.
To grow democracy in the Muslim world.
Returning vets needed services.
Schooling, jobs, health care.
Government shouldn't shoulder the burden.
Oh, they only sent him there. After all, we're all rugged individualists, right?
Can't expect Big Brother to do everything.
Right. And while you're at it, gays should just grow up.
Do we learn from the past?
Was the GI Bill a handout?
Well, outsourcing is new.
Sure, business had to get their cut.
That's just the point.
Death benefits are bigger.
Yeah, and why not have the relatives help?
More counseling for homeless.
Training for amputees.
In prosthetics?
Mistakes have been made.
Really? Who says?
Haste makes waste.
Kinder policies, please.
Food stamps, compensation,
Physical therapy centers.
Politics as usual.
withdrawal.
You mean redeployment?
Yeah, what did Cheney say?
Not much lately.
Wonder why.
I think he's on Scooter's defense team.
Well, you can't blame Jack Abramoff or Joe Wilson.
Whatever happened to Valerie?
Investigative reporting is a lot safer here.
It's not funny.
Being embedded is perilous.
You're right. Insurgents kill everybody.
Osama is still on TV.
Must be a lucrative contract.
Living in caves can't be easy.
He's a militant Muslim.
With plenty of volunteers.
Suppose Condoleezza gets a truce.
What do the terrorists do?
Disband?
Ha. No more jihad?
And the Islamic world?
Like the Taliban?
Ayatollah style, like Iran.
Sure. It's called theocracy.
There's always another war.
Remember when we named squares after vets?
Right. And then they redeveloped the area
And the signs disappeared.
Plaques and memorials.
for the supreme sacrifice.
Another generation forgets too easily.
Museums dedicated to those who served.
Remember when Memorial Day was observed?
A lot of battles since Gettysburg.
Do they tell George all this stuff?
Ask Laura.
Maybe Karl Rove knows.
The president needs to be strong.
He is.
Jeb is getting out.
For now.
What about McCain?
Ask Hillary.
Will people vote their feelings?
The evangelicals?
Certainly.
Oh, well, then we're okay.
As long as there's no military draft.
Anyway, he's gone in 2008.
What about his cabinet?
His White House furniture?
No appointees like Condoleezza Rumsfeld.
There are others.
Yes.
Jon Snow, Elaine Chao, Samuel Bodman, Michael Levitt.
You're kidding.
No. That's Treasury, Labor, Energy, Health and Human Services.
Oh, where have they been?
Gagged.
Why?
They could make policy.
Don't we trust cabinet members?
Picked by W.
Too bad. President needs help.
Alaska has a 10,000-year-old mammoth ivory.
Ask Sarah. That's so good. You know, guys make jewelry out of it.
Don't you think there's a lesson there?
Does the cabinet have to be transparent?
Before we realize its value, you mean?
There's a dispute over the separation of powers.
Congressman Jefferson's office refrigerator.
Ah, yes, the frozen cash found by the FBI.
Attorney General Gonzalez got the search warrant.
Didn't he write the torture memo?
That was helpful.
You take what you can get.
Do the best you can.
It's a comprehensive package.
Nobody demonstrates.
The March Against AIDS.
I meant the border and amnesty.
Just don't call me an infidel.
Remember the 6th of June, 1944?
Another D-Day landing?
Blackout. Okay.
There we go.
Right.
Softer hardline.
Softer hardline.
10 years.
Okay.
And unfortunately, not all that much has changed.
Unfortunately.
So what are you predicting about the Red Sox?
Oh my God, why are we talking about the Red Sox?
Well, because they're in spring training, and at some
Already?
point, at some point in the
Yes.
future, they're going to.
Clog up traffic?
You know, the only thing I've noticed about the Red Sox, I'm not going to start this year with "Who cares," which I've done for the last 2
like
We
years.
always
Ken.
say that.
I know. For 2 years, I've said, "Who
You're
cares?"
going
Who
to care
cares?
this year?
I don't know, but the most interesting thing I've noticed about them so far is that their infield looks like the Patriots' defensive line.
I don't
They
get
have
it.
these huge guys.
At third base and first
Okay.
base.
First base, third base, even the guy at second base is no little guy.
No.
They look like football players.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
They're huge.
well,
That's okay.
There was a guy that took out one of the players last.
No, they're not that huge. They're not huge that way.
That summer
They're
he
huge
broke-
this way.
Oh, I was big muscular dudes.
One guy came to camp and he had a huge girth. I won't say anything else.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Well.
Maybe they'll kick him off the team.
Oh,
No,
all right.
no.
But we're not.
You gotta be able to run.
But we're
They
not
get too much
predicting. Are
money
you
in it.
predicting? Do you think
Fair.
they'll win the pennant?
I don't actually care even a little bit. Not even
Okay.
a
I have
smidge.
passed the
I've
proverbial
taken the
who cares.
baton.
I've passed the proverbial "Who cares"
Yeah,
to
I'm
Kira.
sorry. I will take this one.
Well,
I'm going to pass it on. Arch said he might
Yeah.
care this year, so.
Do you think the Watertown residents were right in saying they don't want filming about that?
But it wasn't the
marathon?
residents. The residents said yes. The council said no. And the
Well, first
residents,
they said-
the residents are mad at the council now.
Now, first they
believe it.
said the residents, then they changed it to the council. First I heard it on TV and I saw it in the
So the
paper.
There
council
were a
said
lot
they
of
didn't want the
interviews with
movie?
residents who were very angry.
I'm not bringing up casinos. We could put one in Watertown too. But I won't say
Well,
that.
now they went to a second place, which was one of our state institutions of higher learning, and they turned them down too. So it's interesting. Oh, one of the small tragedies, or for their families, huge tragedies, was a couple of young people from Northeastern were just killed
Yeah.
Car
yesterday
accident.
in a car accident in Qatar or something
Somewhere like that, yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Qatar. No.
Somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
The Arab, it's one of these Arab sultanates or something.
yes,
Yeah.
like
Not
Qatar.
very big. Very tiny.
I've forgotten, unfortunately, what small country it was,
Yeah.
but one of them was actually a survivor of the marathon bombing.
I thought that was
Catherine
incredible.
McGrath, I think her name was.
Anyway,
The
that's
poor
sad.
woman. She,
That's
goes in,
sad.
she goes out there and she gets killed in an automobile accident.
Right. I mean, fate
Yeah, it
seems
almost
to have
makes
handed in for her.
exactly. That was my
Yeah,
very
too
first
bad.
thought when I read that, and I'm sure that's why.
Yeah.
You
Did
know,
you
that
ever-
was like
Very
their
sad.
first line.
Did you ever hear of this guy Carlos? Carlos, he's a fish mogul in New Bedford.
Carlos is a
Carlos
fish. You
is
heard
his
of
name.
Carlos,
Carlos the fish mogul.
in,
Yeah,
in
he
Bedford.
has evaded federal quotas, you'll love this, by labeling all his catches haddock.
I thought he was trying to say he was a fishmonger.
Wait a minute. No, he is like a fish. He is like a fish. Then sold off. He sells on. He
Cockles and
labels them
mussels.
all as haddock, but all the other fish that's very valuable.
Oh, the stuff he's not meant to catch, he calls haddock.
Right, everything. Okay.
So you said he calls everything haddock.
Yeah.
Just for.
All the
Because
fish
it's
is
legal
haddock.
to catch.
Okay.
The valuable is
Does he still call it haddock when he sells it?
But no, he secretly.
At that point, it becomes gray sole.
Exactly.
Right?
But then
Yeah.
he's making a lot of money out of it this way, okay? So he gets there's an undercover agent which he doesn't know about, who's watching this whole thing take place, and this guy is sending the money that he's secretly laundering to Portugal. He's sending it through somebody that's part of this whole thing that's an agent.
Okay.
And
Are we to assume that this guy is Portuguese by ancestry?
Yes.
Okay.
They got him anyways.
But here's the flip side. It's
I don't-
nice that they got
Is he
him.
going to pay them off in fish or money? That's what I want to know.
They'd probably rather have the fish. But
Yeah.
Okay.
here's the other part of that, which
Okay.
is
Yeah.
they are now proposing that each boat has to pay for their own inspector on each trip.
Right.
It's going to average like $750 a day.
Wow.
And the thing is, like half the boats out of Gloucester and New Bedford don't bring in $750 a day. So they've finally come up with a proposal, after all the proposals over the last 20 years of catch limits and season restrictions, they finally have come up with something that has a really good chance to kill the fishing industry.
You're right.
Which.
Okay.
Because you can't pay the inspector more than your boat's going to make for
No,
the day.
not at all.
So that is really, I'm on their side when they start marching with dead fish down the streets.
Do you know those judges who had another hearing on this Deflategate thing? They really
Yeah.
took Tom Perfect, whatever his name is.
His name is Brady.
Brady, yeah.
Tom
Brady?
Brady.
Yeah.
Yes.
They took him over the hurdles. They said all
They
kinds
took
of
his
nasty,
lawyers. He
negative
wasn't-
things about him.
He wasn't there.
Okay.
No, he wasn't there, but they
And-
tore him up.
And
That's only because he
and-
wasn't there. If
and
he was
now,
there, it wouldn't happen.
This is my time now to say, who cares?
There you have it.
Because I don't like Brady. I don't like Kraft.
We're out of time.
I don't like Belichick.
Okay.
I want the Patriots out of Massachusetts.
Well, it depends. Are we the red? Are we the red or the green?
Well, you read the green. Read the green.
Okay.
We got
Well,
another minute?
Then we might have another minute.
Go for it.
Let's just
We
do
got-
the song and then we'll go back to some
All right.
current events.